Oh, Gatekeeper here. Y'all have to forgive me because of my voice. I don't know if I got laryngitis, bronchitis, upper respiratory, lower. I might have it all. Heck, who knows? But we still pushing on out here in Georgia, no doubt about it. But I got one of my plastic builds here. One of my, I like to call little quick dirt builds, quick crap builds, I like to call them. It's something I, threw together with the quickness there. Try to make a little bit extra cash for the pocket, but I actually didn't build it and sell it real quick like I normally would with something like this. I kind of held on to it for a little while. Hadn't used it yet, but just tuned it out and tested it along with the next one that I'll be doing. But it's, a really neat unit. Like I said, it is a plastic unit. It's a two HG SD1446s. They are not ST1446s. They're made by a company called HG. They tend to not be as strong as regular 1446s, but they're close. They're close decibels wise. I've used two of them, got 200 watts before. I've used two of them, got 220. And I've used two of them, got 180. There seems to be a kind of a different, it seems like the transistors are kind of, either this way or that way. I've seen a range from 160 to 220. So you kind of have to match them. I've noticed with these HGs, you have to buy quite a few of them and go through and actually match them by the HFE value. So, but regardless, let's make a good little driver. I would just go ahead and call it a 150, pretty much. It does about 150, 160 watts PEP. It's a brand new unit. We'll go ahead and do a power output and go ahead and pop the top off and show you the build. It is variable power. Alrighty, let's show you what we're going to be putting into it. Audio. Alright, right there about 22 watts as usual. Go ahead and pop the power on. We're on look at that, 13.8 exactly. Got lucky. 13.8 volts. Got the variable all the way down. This variable does some good justice too. You'll see what I'm saying here. 30 watts all the way down. By the way, this does have automatic sideband, like I'm doing most of my builds these days. And the way I look at it with that, I mean, why have a switch on it when all it's doing is just giving a really slight delay on AM? I mean, just as an example, without without an SSB delay at all, your key will do. If you keyed and unkeyed, it'd be just like this. But just like that. But if you have a delay in the SSB delay in there on AM and not on sideband, it's just like this. So I'm saying, what's the big deal? What's the difference? To this. You know what I'm saying? And then you go over to SSB, you don't got to worry about flipping a switch. So I'm pretty much sold on automatic sideband or unless specified. So let's turn this variable up about 25%. 'You're not going to hear me saying the audio because my throat is hurting, y'all, my larynx voice box. So I'm going to go with a It hurts to say audio. All right, about 50 watts, quarter way up. Turn it halfway. Look at that reflect. Beautiful, perfect reflect. I wouldn't even say that's 5 milliwatts, y'all. Maybe even 1 milliwatt. No movement hardly at all. Beautiful on the output too, man. 1 to 1. Goodness. Alright, got about 80 to 90 watts halfway up. Alright, let's go 75%. Alrighty, about 120, 75%. Now let's go all the way up. So there's pretty much your 140, 150. Really good low dead key. So you could turn the dead key up in this box, no problem. That's the way I tune my boxes, just in case y'all have not noticed that. I tune my boxes for the lowest dead key possible with a 1 watt dead key going into it. That allows all you people out there that love to run 2 watt, 3 watt dead keys to be able to run them and not overdrive the box. That's the way I've was taught to do it, and that's the way that I do it. So we got like about a 7 to 10 watt dead key swinging 140 to 150. There you go, about 145 on that time. Alright, let's go ahead and kick her on 15.2, 15.3 today. Sometimes they give me 15.4. Matters about what the mains voltage is doing. Y'all know how that goes. Alright, 15.3 volts. Alright, we got about 160 to 170. Alrighty. So either reflect at full power on 15.2 volts. Maybe 25 milliwatts. Beautiful tune. 10 watt slug. 100 is 10, 40 is 4, 20 is 2. And between that is 1. We're getting what? Just a hair. Little hair of a movement. That's what you want to see. I've noticed a lot of times that needle's going to move just a little bit due to the modulation. Mr. Stickman himself taught me that. But I've even had some that don't move at all. Alrighty. Alright. You hit this bad boy with about a 25 watt radio or so, 30 watt radio. Turn that variable down just a wee. You should get it up to about 200 watts, no problem. But I'll just go ahead and call this 150 watt amplifier. The way I look at it, this is doing about as much as 12879 would be doing, pretty much, kind of, if you want to look at it on that aspect. But you're using 2 transistors instead of 1, which equals more cooler. This is going to stay cooler. We got a nice 80 millimeter fan on top. Got your normal portholes on the back. I can't remember if it keys up blue inside or not. I don't know if I did this one or the other one that way. But get your portholes right there in the back. Get your labels there. Let's go ahead and kick the power off and show you the inside. Yeah, that's another thing, y'all. With my little test cables here, if y'all see, I don't think I've ever showed y'all this. You know, I use Allen excuse me, Anderson connectors. And my quick disconnects, I just use these little alligator clips. You know, they're not the best at, you know, for making a connection, as you can see right here. So, you know, once you have this box hooked up, or any box that I'm showing hooked up on a real good solid connection, you're probably always going to see a little bit more. But this is just, you know, for testing purposes. I've just had no reason to replace them, you know, so, you know, I could go to the trouble putting Andersons on everything, but, you know, them little connectors aren't cheap. That'd be a lot of work putting them on and taking them off. But we got some good long length wire here for this, good adequate size, about 12 gauge, which is adequate size for this little modulator here. All right, let's go ahead and pop the top off this bad boy. All right, see if we can just lay that right there. Usually I like to give enough length on the fan wire so we can always lay that top. Got our filter on the fan there. This is a full etched board. I etched the whole board. If you ever notice, let me put my mic up right here. If you ever notice, I usually etch out my plastic builds. And yeah, I will be honest, that you spend more time etching it out. You really do. You do spend a lot more time etching it out, but in the long run, you know, after you get it etched, everything just goes on so quicker to me. Plus, I like to do every build a little different, you know. So as you can see, there's the two brand new HD1446s. We got this thing tuned out to perfection. Got a nice 5 watt, 100 ohm. If there's any builders watching this, let me just give y'all some advice on what I found out. I used to put 2 watt, 100 ohms like everybody else uses on variables. And even myself, you know, you get these people running big export radios, running 20, 30, 40, 50 watts. And they're forced to turn this variable down so they can put some resistance on the incoming signal, when they could just be using a smaller radio. But, you know, we use what we have. And the more this is turned down, the harder this 100 ohms working, throwing all that extra transient RF that is not being used straight to ground. So what I've learned to do on every single build, it don't matter how cheap of a build it is, it just doesn't matter. I always throw a 5 watt 100 ohm. That'll keep it alive that much longer, keep that variable rolling that much longer. Just go ahead and buy you a big bulk bag of them and use them. I mean, that's just a little advice that I've gained throughout the builds here. I'm going to straighten this up right here. I like everything to look perfect. Got us a good 30,000 picofarad cap. I mean, these caps right here, tell you something else, man. If you went and bought this cap right here, it's a .03 silver dip mica. It is equivalent to a 103 ceramic disc, 10,000 picofarad. If you went and bought, 30,000 picofarad, 30,000 is a .03, not .01. If you went and bought this cap right here from Mauser or something, I want you to know you'd probably pay about $30, maybe even $40. And I'm not kidding. Go check it out. Go check it out. I got lucky and got me about 80 of them one time. Got really lucky, right place at the right time. I use them on new builds. I don't use them in repairs or anything like that. I just kind of use them when I feel like it. You know how it goes. But whenever I do these plastic builds like this, I always like to put filtering on the input, on the power and the ground. I always just like to do that because, you know, this is a plastic box. It's going to be kind of like you running this amp, you know, not with a top off of a metal box, or, you know, just sitting on the heat sink. So do a little bit of extra filtering, you know, when I can. Got a good filter cap for the RF to go through right here, a .01. The RF comes in, goes through this .01 before it hits the relay. that throws out any kind of DC, any kind of weird noise that might be coming from possibly an alternator, possibly a bad radio, anything like that. Just gets all that DC, only allows the AC to come through. And there you go. We got the automatic sideband right here, delay. This is a Class C. And there you go, another Gatekeeper plastic build. I hope it finds a good home. I hope it gives many, many years of modulation. Make a decent little driver for a 4-pill. Decent little driver for a 6. And it sure will tickle an 8, no doubt about it. It won't drive an 8 to the absolute fullest, but it'll tickle it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. We're going to go to the next plastic build, which is going to be my favorite of the two. Gatekeeper said it. We good and gone. And don't forget, you need Transformers power supplies. Holler at me on my email, 3manpro@gmail.com. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Real Deal out there in the hog yard. My old buddy's been doing a lot for me here lately, and I highly appreciate it, brother. We can't make it through this life alone. Y'all know how that goes, and we good and go.